I welcome you all. Welcome back. I'm here for the next part of my there is next session, qualities of excellent government employee. Now, when I talk about excellent government employees, I would like to begin with some examples. Now, of the various government officers that we know, there are lots of IAS, IPS officers. There are lots of state government service officers, state service officers that we know. The names of how many of them do we remember? When I say that, who in your opinion is a very role model kind of officer, a person who is officer which we think as a consider as a role model, how many names come to your mind? I am sure that whenever we want to remember efficient and good officers, only few names come to our mind. Only few names strike our mind. What is the reason? The reason is all of us do our job effectively and efficiently, no doubt. We all try to give our best. But there is some extra effort which is required to be remembered in order to be remembered by your department. There are some school principals who, even after retirement, they are being remembered by their colleagues or by their people who follow them in their footsteps. There are teachers who are remembered by their students even after 25 years. So this happens because they have shown some qualities which differentiate them from the ordinary. Now it is important that we must talk about those qualities. And I would not say that you can develop these qualities overnight. Most of you might be having most of these qualities, of course. I am not saying that when only I am talking about these qualities, then only you will develop. You all have that. Of course, you have. What I am talking about is to give an extra push for differentiation, for recognition, as I have talked about. Now I will start my presentation. The first slide I am just showing you. This person is Mr. E. Sridharan. You might be knowing him as the Metro Man, the person who designed the Delhi Metro. And before that, the entire Konkan railway system. And right now, he is working as a consultant for Kerala government for, I think, Kochi Metro. So this man has worked wonders, and you will all be surprised to know that he carried out all these projects after retirement. He was an Indian Railway Traffic Service officer, and after retirement, he was engaged in all these ambitious projects. So, E. Sridharan, we consider him as a role model, as a metro man who gave us such wonderful projects. Then I will show you the name of a picture of another officer. He is Mr. Armstrong Payne. He is Mr. Armstrong Payne. He is an IS officer of Manipur cadre, and he is acclaimed for building a 100-kilometer motorable road linking Manipur to Nagaland and Assam. And the road is famously called as the People's Road. The people of Tosem, where he is, called him the Miracle Man. He was moved by the difficulty of the people, and he began to build the road by putting in some money of his own. In no time, it became a crowdsourced venture, and the road is now known as the People's Road, Armstrong Payne. Then, he is Mr. Samish Sharma, Dr. Samish Sharma, as you call him, Rajasthan cadre IS officer, began his pioneering work in a generic medicine project long before when the Amir Khan show Satyamev Jayate made the whole country notice. The entire generic medicine project, which led to a massive reduction in the prices of generic medicine, was initiated due to his efforts. Apart from this, there are several other officers. Whenever say if you interact and we talk about officers, there are officers from our state government also, whom we consider as very excellent officers. So what makes them different? Why we remember the names of these officers? It is because of some extra qualities. It is because of some extra efforts that they put in, which differentiate them in their job and which make them excellent government officers. Now, just ask this question to yourself after this session is over. Ask this question: why are you in this job? Why are you in this job? And give an honest answer to yourself. Some people will give an honest answer that I am in this job to earn a salary. I am in this job to run my family. I am in this job to just earn a living. That is okay. That is very common. But after listening to this presentation, at the end of this, again, I will ask you the same question. Why are you in this job? And then we will discuss about the answer, what your answer will be. I am sure that you will give a different answer. Now, I will give you a situation. What is your response when a student keeps on repeating his problem again and again when you had understood it in the first instance itself? What is your response when a student keeps on repeating his problem again and again when you had understood it in the first instance itself? You, you ask your peon to get him out. You try to convince the student that you have understood his problem. You display no emotions whatsoever, and you may give any other response also. But the ideal answer is you try to convince the student that you have understood his problem. Now, why this should be your answer? This should be your answer because an excellent government employee is a very good listener. Even when you know that the student has explained his problem in the first instance, why is he repeating the problem again and again? Or for that matter, any person who comes to you with a grievance, why they keep on repeating the same things again and again? It is because they have no other thing in their mind. They are disturbed. They are in problem. And it seems to them that you have not given, you may not have given that much attention which they think that they should have got. So therefore, an excellent government employee needs to be a very good listener. You must try to listen to the problems of the students, to the problems of your colleagues, your fellow teachers, everybody. And when you listen patiently, sometimes they are satisfied by that only, that you have listened to their problem with patience. Then I will give you another situation. What is your mindset when on reaching the school you find a long queue of parents waiting for you? When you reach your office and you find that a long queue of parents are waiting, they all have some or the other issues, they all want to talk to you about their ward. Now, option 1, you feel irritated. Oh, just I have reached the office, अभी अभी आया, इतनी लंबी लाइन, क्यों आके खड़े हैं इतने लोग? You ask the peon, इतने लोग क्यों खड़े हैं भाई, क्या हो गया? What is the problem? You take it as an opportunity to serve so many people. Oh, these many people waiting to see me. Oh, it's an opportunity to talk to them. It is an opportunity to solve their problem. You display no emotions whatsoever. This is a very common response because when our task gets routine, when we are indulged in a routine job, then our enthusiasm dries out. Our enthusiasm is lost for our job. So we display no emotions whatsoever and we may give any other response also. But that response that is advisable is you take it as an opportunity to serve so many people. Every time you enter your institution, you should be thrilled. You should feel it, you should take it as an opportunity to serve so many people. As soon as you enter their school, you should feel a sense of joy inside you. That, oh, I am going to meet so many people today, I am going to teach so many students. That will help you in gaining that excellence that we are talking about. Then, now there are some factors, there are qualities of an excellent government employee which have been listed by many sources. So we will be discussing about them one by one, and I will request you also to add something if you want to add. Now, the first is communicator. An excellent government employee should be a good communicator. He should be able to express yourself clearly in a responsible and precise manner. This is very important because you have to run an institution. And when you have to run an institution, you should be able to communicate yourself properly. You should be able to communicate the objectives of the organization to your subordinates, to your colleagues, everybody, so that they all are working in the right direction. And especially when there is a crisis situation, when there is a conflict, that conflict can only be resolved by good communication skills. If you have good communication skills, it is very much possible that you may not get into any kind of trouble. So it is very important. Communication skills, it is like that thing कि आपको बड़ी से बड़ी मुसीबत से बाहर निकाल सकता है. If you have these skills, you can get out of any situation. और अगर आपके पास नहीं है, तो आपके पास बहुत ज़्यादा नॉलेज है, बहुत अच्छी चीज़ें हैं, बट यू कैनॉट एक्सप्रेस इट, आप अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो आपको उसका लाभ नहीं मिलेगा, उसका एडवांटेज नहीं मिलेगा. Many times you might have heard, whenever there is a problem, international problem between two nations, most of the world bodies says that you just solve it by talk, you just solve it by negotiations. Now, for negotiation, communication skills are a must. Therefore, an excellent government employee, an excellent government principal should be a good communicator. He should be able to communicate effectively to his students. He should be able to communicate to them why they have to attend their classes properly. He should be able to communicate to his teachers, his or her teachers, that why they need to take their classes with utmost care and motivation. He should be able to communicate to them why you want at least 90 to 100% result for your school. He should be able to communicate why do you want to implement all the government schemes properly. Why do you want to implement the midday meal scheme properly? Everything. This all is possible only when you are a good communicator. And a good communicator does not mean that you use very literary kind of language or you are using a very nice kind of words. You can use a very simple language also and you can be a good communicator. The only thing is you should be able to clearly and responsibly express the objectives of running that institution to everybody who is concerned about that. So this is one important quality which I am sure that you all have. But if there is something lacking, I will request you to please give it a thought and try to improve it. Then the next quality is self-motivated and taking initiative. Since in my first session I have talked about this a lot, I will not be talking more. But of course, a government school principal has to be self-motivated. Because as I have told you, that the more you keep your motivational factors external, the more is the possibility that you won't get motivated. Therefore, it is very important that you keep your motivational factors internal. You get motivated by your personality, that I want to work hard because I am a hard worker by nature. I want to take initiative because I do not accept things in the usual manner. I want to make a difference in wherever I am working. So please be self-motivated and don't get bothered by the external factors. If a person who is in the similar position like you is not working hard and you stop working hard by seeing that person, then he wins. अगर आप मेहनत कर रहे हैं, यू आर अ सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड पर्सन, और दूसरा मेहनत नहीं कर रहा है और उसको देख के आपने भी मेहनत करना छोड़ दिया, तो वो उसकी जीत है, आपकी हार है. और आपको लगातार मेहनत करते देख के वो भी मेहनत करने लग गया, तो वो आपकी जीत. सो ऑलवेज बी सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड. डोंट गेट बॉदर्ड बाय द एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर्स. Don't get bothered if the appreciation is coming late, if there is a delay in appreciation. Because as I have humbly requested you, there is a procedure in everything. In a government setup, there is a procedure. Things take time. So please be self-motivated and take initiative. कोई भी आपके स्कूल में प्रॉब्लम है, try to find out how it can be solved. I have seen some schools where the principals have taken initiative. They have requested the help of some social organizations. They have requested the higher authorities and got things done just by taking initiative. I must humbly submit that all the senior officers with whom you come in contact, they are extremely busy. They have lots and lots of work to do. So if you take a little initiative and you keep on pursuing the things which are related for the betterment of your institution, it will definitely help one day. It will definitely change. You will definitely get the resources. Of course, you have to take the initiative. Then, hard worker. An excellent government employee needs to be a hard worker. He needs to ensure that those working hours, it may be 8 or 9 working hours, those are exclusively dedicated for his institution. There is no diversion in between, no family phone calls, no taking time for your personal things. It is absolutely for your institution. Then, an excellent government employee has to be adaptable. When I talk about adaptation, adaptable means as per the requirements of the institution, as per the requirements of the organization, and it also includes behavioral adaptation. You have to modify your behavior sometimes. When you talk to your students, you have to modify your behavior. You have to be more compassionate. You have to show more emotional intelligence. You have to come to their level in order to explain them the things. But when you talk with your colleagues, when your fellow teachers, you have to talk at their level. And that will be a more mature and sincere conversation. You have to accept their ideas also. Sometimes you have to say that yes, मुझे ये चीज पता नहीं थी, आपने मुझे बताया, thank you. We are very shy of accepting our mistakes. एक मीटिंग हम ले रहे हैं पूरे स्टाफ की, we are sitting in the staff room and the government principal is sitting, और हमको कोई चीज नहीं पता है. We are very shy of saying कि अरे ये मुझे नहीं पता है. But it's a very simple thing. आप बोलिए मुझे नहीं पता है, आपको मालूम है, बताइए, अच्छा हम सबको बताइए, please let us hear. And when you show this kind of flexibility, this kind of adaptation, you will get the complete cooperation of your team members. You will get the complete cooperation of your staff members. So adaptable. Adaptable also in relation to the social environment of your institution. Because in a school, there are many people from the society who come and interact with you. They want to do something for the school, or they want some kind of betterment in the school. It is very important that you are adaptable to them. There are some people from the government bodies, there are some people from the political parties also who keep on visiting you. You must try to understand, and if there is something positive, then you should try to accept those ideas to whatever extent they are possible. Decisive. This is a very important quality that an excellent government employee has to be decisive. You have to take decisions. You cannot just linger on issues. You have to take decisions, and you have to take correct and timely decisions. Then only the problem will be solved. Effective learner. An excellent government employee has to be an effective learner. Whenever there is a new direction from the headquarters, whenever there is a new government scheme that needs to be implemented, it is very important that as the head of the institution, you try to learn it as fast as possible. There is no age bar in learning. If you have reached the age of 60, and people I have seen, they keep on repeating कि मेरा तो रिटायरमेंट का 5 साल बचा है, मेरा तो रिटायरमेंट का 8 साल बचा है. Whenever you talk to a learned person, they always say that I am still a student. So if such people can say that I am still a student, we are all a student till the age we finally leave this world. So this attitude कि मेरा तो retirement का इतना साल बचा है, no. Even if you are retiring on that day and you are able to learn something new, you should try to learn that. You should try to be an effective learner in order to be an excellent government employee. Then some common things: team player. You should always be able to work in a team, and you should be able to form a team in your organization. And when you form a team, you will have to be more communicative. Sometimes you will have to come down from your higher authority, and you have to be at their level in order to form a team. So you have to be a team player, helping others, as I have told you in those situations. An excellent government employee is always willing to help others. He is always ready to serve. Honesty. Honesty, as we all know, it's a virtue. Honesty is a quality which is required not only for an excellent government employee but for everybody, I think. And honesty in terms of your job, honesty in terms of your behavior, and honesty in terms of your personality, for everybody, for your colleagues, for your bosses, for your subordinates, everybody. Ethical. Now when I talk about ethics, it is a very long, very used topic. I won't go into that. But ethics are a very important part of Indian society. Follow rules, inspires and decides correctly and justly. A government principal has to be ethical because you are watched by hundreds and hundreds of students who will follow you in whatever job they go, in whatever career they adopt, in whatever profession they acquire. So it is very important to be ethical. And especially in education department, I must request that there has to be a higher level of ethical behavior because we teachers, teaching was a noble profession, is a noble profession, and will be a noble profession forever. So ethical conduct, and as I have told you in that class, that not only from your dress up, from your behavior, the way you speak, the way you walk, the way you talk, everything should reflect your ethical conduct. Then disciplined and punctual. Of course, you all know that, you all follow these virtues. We have to be punctual. When we ask our students to come on time, we should come at least 10 minutes ahead of the time. We should be the first person to reach the school. Then only we can ensure that there is discipline among all others in that. So this is another important quality. Avoiding gossip. Now this I consider as a very important quality for an excellent government employee, that he or she should try to avoid any kind of gossip in his office. He should not allow any person to indulge in gossip in front of you. There are certain members in an institution, there are some people who like it to be sitting with the boss and sharing some kind of information about the school. Some people might appreciate that, but I will request to discourage such people and never allow them to do these things, because such a person will spoil the entire working environment when he goes out of the office. He will distort things. You may not have said those things, but he will go out and say that it was being said by you. So therefore, the head of the institution should avoid gossip. He should never allow such people who are indulging in such kind of gossip. That will again help you in moving towards becoming an excellent government employee. So these are some qualities that I have listed. Now I will request any of you who would like to add some more qualities to this already list. Please. Any
Rajnish Upadhyay from Mughali.
Yes, please, sir. Boliye.
Sir, another quality I think which is very necessary is to be proactive.
Totally proactive. There is initiative, taking initiative. I think we have already have that one.
Sir, I think there is a slight difference between taking initiative and being proactive.
Okay.
Proactive means anticipating the situation which might come in near future, any problem or the challenge which might occur in the future, and for that situation we need to start looking for the solution. Just for an example, I just look at the list of my students who have recently been admitted in class 10, and looking at their mark sheet, I realized that they haven't performed very well in class 9, so they might face some problems in class 10. So I just started looking for the solution. So I right now I do not have teachers recruited over there, so I started looking for those teachers who can at least start online classes right now, especially for class 10. Even if I do not start classes for all other classes, at least for class 10 I should start, because that is going to be the most important class. So I think this can be an example of being proactive. So very humbly, I would like to request you to add another
Yes.
quality, that is proactiveness. Definitely, taking initiative is very close to it, but it is not quite equivalent. Thank you, sir.
Yes, very correct, sir. You have rightly pointed out that being proactive or having a foresight, I would give it that, I would term it that way, that having a foresight for your school, having a long-term vision for your school. What are the present requirements and what are the future requirements of your school? As you have rightly pointed out,
Exactly.
that you know that there are some future requirements and you have started taking initiative, you are being proactive for that. So yes, it is definitely a very nice quality for being an excellent government employee. Yes. Anyone else would like to add something? Anybody else? Anyone else would like to add something?
So there is a question, may I ask?
Yeah, please. Please go ahead.
A principal should be
Sir,
active in public conduct.
Pardon, sir. Please repeat your question.
A principal should
no,
be
I think Gupta sir
active
is
making
speaking.
public conduct.
Please speak one by
Uh,
one. I will request you. Please
for
speak
the
one by one.
Okay, Gupta ji, please speak.
A principal should be active to make public contact
A
for
principal,
the development of a school.
a principal has to be active, sir, even if he does not want to, because there are some stakeholders in most of the government schools from the public also who want to contribute, who come to your school, who want to interact with the principal, and you can always mold their contribution. You can always shape their contribution towards the betterment of your institution. If you try to avoid them, then they might just they might not appreciate your behavior, and they might it will might create some problem also. So it is better that you try to interact positively with them. And
Sir, an effective an effective principal should be very active to contact all the stakeholders for the development of school and children.
sir, he should be able to contact only as per the directions of the higher authorities. Whatever there are the set rules and regulations, and as per the rules and regulations, he should be active, and he should contact them as per the guidelines which are being issued from the higher authorities.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so we move ahead with our presentation.
Hello, sir, may I?
Yeah, please
Sir,
go ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
hello.
Yeah, please, sir.
Sir, while talking about being decisive, you just said that one has to be able to take timely and right decision. So,
Yes.
sir, I just want to know how is it possible for someone to realize that this decision is correct at the time of taking it?
Of course, when you take a decision, there is a probability that you might, most of the times you may be correct, but sometimes you may get it wrong also. So it is better that you try to consult all the stakeholders. If it is possible to consult at least two or three senior members of the school, and then you can take a decision, then you can adopt that approach. But sometimes there is shortage of time, and when there is shortage of time, then again you will have to go back to your knowledge and your experience and whatever skill you have acquired over a period of time. You should try to find out some reference that in a similar situation what kind of decision has been taken by your predecessor. Sometimes you can just ask for a file that in that earlier situation what was the decision taken by your predecessor. So whatever you can do, you should try to consult people, you should try to take references, and even after doing all this, sometimes a decision may go wrong, but that's a
Yeah.
part of the game. That is very much possible. But the thing is that your intention should be good. I have seen in many government functionings and the institution which I am working. Sometimes we talk about departmental inquiries, and there is an expert with whom I was talking. He was telling me that the government wants to see that your intention was not good, and whether your intention was good or whether your intention was not good. So, in all such things, when a government officer takes a decision and if his intention is good, even if he fails, then that's not a problem. But before taking a decision, you should always be in a emotional balanced state of mind, as I talked about yesterday. Your mind should be absolutely calm and peaceful, and then considering about all the aspects of the problem, you should take a decision. And your decision should never be influenced by your personal bias. There should not be any bias. If you are going to take a disciplinary action, you should not be influenced by your personal bias towards that person. So these are some things which I think will be helpful. Am I able to satisfy your question?
Yes, and I think we need more time for the interaction.
Okay, okay.
Okay, sir,
We
please
will we will
continue.
have it. We will have it someday. Now the next session, next point is handling the visitors. Now, to be an excellent government employee, we need to understand that the people who are coming to our office, how we should treat them. The government servant is also known as public servant, as you all know. Accordingly, the objective of public servant should be to serve. In other words, he should not present himself as a master, but as a person ever ready to serve. Now, this is a golden rule. Whenever I am sitting in my office in a comfortable chair and there is the air conditioner working and there is a very pleasant environment, there is a peon sitting outside my office, there are two, three subordinates who keep on getting my instructions, and keep on coming and going. Now it naturally gives me a sense of being a master. Therefore, I need to remember this line that whenever there is a visitor in my office, I must present myself as a humble servant and not as a master. He should not present himself as a master, but as a person ready to serve. Then, a visitor is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption on our work. He is the purpose of it. You are you are running a school, you are running an institution because the students are there to study in those schools, and their parents who are coming to visit you, they are sending their children to school. That is why your school is running. So your existence is because of the students. Their existence is not because of you. So this is the mindset that we have to adopt. They are not dependent on us. We are dependent on them for our existence. He is not an interruption on our work. If a visitor comes to our office, then he is not an interruption. Probably he has some problem. And it is our duty to solve it. He is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider on our business. He is a part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. Whosoever comes to visit our school, suppose he is a parent and he has some problem regarding some issues regarding the school, regarding his children. Now, when we solve that problem, it helps us in gaining a perspective about how to deal with a parent and how to understand the issues faced by our students. So, he is giving us an opportunity to learn something. He is giving us an opportunity to experiment. So, he is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity by visiting our office. So, that should be our mindset. Then, handling visitors. Whenever there are visitors, greet them with a smile. Greet them with a smile. It's not a very difficult thing. Just smile. When you smile at somebody, a person opens the door of your office and you just smile and you say, "Acha, aha, bataiye, kya baat? Ji, bataiye, kya baat?" The person immediately becomes comfortable. And he comes inside, offer them a glass of water and chair to sit. Of course, this is a very basic courtesy that we extend to everybody. Allow them to express their feelings. Now, as I have mentioned in the starting part of my presentation, that an excellent government employee has to be a good listener. Listen to their grievances. Just try to find out why he is so agitated. Let them speak. Once that person has a glass of water and he expresses his feelings, then you will find that his tempers are cooled down and he is in a very peaceful state of mind. And then you can find out what the problem is and you try to get the solution. Don't get irritated if they repeat the same thing. A person who is in problem, it is a very psychological thing that he will keep on repeating his problem again and again unless that problem gets solved, unless he gets a solution. So it is very natural. There is no point in getting irritated. Give them a practical solution. Always give a practical solution. A person who has come to your school in Dantewada and you are giving him a solution that go to Raipur and go to our school education directorate and you get this thing done. It's very difficult. Give them a practical solution which is possible for them. And you always know that there is a practical solution. You always know that there is a way out of that problem. I must humbly request, please find out that practical way and suggest it to that person. There are various stakeholders in ensuring the effective performance of a government officer. Now, when you want to become an excellent government employee, it is not an individual thing. If you decide that I am going to have all these qualities and then I will be an excellent government employee, no. There are some outside stakeholders also who are responsible for the smooth functioning of your organization. The first and foremost, since India is a democratic country, we have the political stakeholders. How to deal with them? They keep on visiting our institutions. They keep on raising some issues. Now, how to deal with them? Develop a working relationship with them, ensuring their respect and cooperation. We have to develop a working relationship. Working relationship means you do not cultivate them as friends, neither you consider them as enemies. You have a working relationship because they are a stakeholder in your institution. They keep on coming to your institution and raising certain issues. Therefore, to have a working relationship means you try to understand what they want to say. And to the extent the government rules and regulations permit, you try to implement those things. You try to get those things done and you get their respect and their cooperation. Of course, this will depend on your other personal qualities. If you have those qualities that I have mentioned above, then only you will be able to get their respect and cooperation. Otherwise, they will create a lot of trouble. Next is coordination with other departments closely related with the functioning of your department. Now, I have come to know that the school education department has to be continuously in touch with various other departments. Now, as a government principal, we need to identify who are our counterparts in those departments. Who are the people, who are the responsible officers with whom we have to deal, with whom we have to contact. And it is very important that we maintain a database of those officers. We have their contact numbers. And if it is possible, we make them a courtesy phone call also. That I have joined as a principal in this school and I am supposed to interact with you on a timely basis. Our school will be requiring your help in this or this matter. So I will be talking to you. So when you make a courtesy call like this, next time when you have a problem or when you have to talk to him about some issue, he will be having a background in his mind that this person is a government principal, he has recently joined and he wants to talk to me about this issue. So therefore, it is very important that you act in close coordination with all the other departments which are related to your department, which are related to your school, your institution. Identification of change agents. Now, if you want to bring real change, then you have to identify the change agents. Suppose there is less enrollment in your school. There is less enrollment of girl child in your school. Girls are not joining the schools. Or girls are leaving the school at an early age. Say after primary school, they are leaving the school. Now, this may not be your problem as a government principal, but if you want to make a change, then it is your problem. That why the girls are leaving the school after primary education. So you have to identify some change agents in the society. The change agents could be from the society, the local villagers, social workers, etc. There are people in the society, there are people in the village or town who are very active and who want to make some changes. Now you can contact them or they may contact you and you discuss them about such things which are possible, of course, within the rules and regulations of the government, and you try to identify them as change agents. You ask them to go to their parents and ask the girls to bring back to school. This is something which we can do. Then media. Now media again, it's a very important change agent. Now whether you like it or not, the media persons will keep on coming to your school. Now handling media properly and using its reach for communicating the benefits of government schemes. Now the media persons will come. It is a natural reaction that when media people come, sometimes we get uh, a kind of we get uncomfortable. People with all that camera and everything. There is no need to be uncomfortable because if you are doing things in a proper and ethical manner, there is no point in getting afraid. Now you can use them as change agents. When, as in my earlier example, that there is less enrollment of girls, you can ask them to find out why the girls are not getting enrolled. They will tell you. They will explain you the reason. So you can ask them to spread the message of the good government schemes that the school is running, the scholarships, everything. Of course, when they come to you, you don't go to them. And the first and foremost thing is never to give any bite to the media without the approval of your superior authorities. You are not supposed to talk to the media about any official things, any official version. Everything has to be approved by the higher authorities, and it will be released by the central agency, your central departments. So therefore, when a media person comes to your office, there is no need of talking about any official things. But if there are certain positive things which they are ready to propagate, which they are ready to publicize, then of course, based on your discretion, you can think about that. Then I would like to end this presentation with a famous quotation by Kenneth A. Wells. A good listener tries to understand thoroughly what the other person is saying. In the end, he may disagree sharply, but before he disagrees, he wants to know exactly what it is he is disagreeing with. So I end my presentation. Now, write again, why are you in this job? After I have given this presentation and after my session is over, I will request you to again think about why are you in this job. And I am sure that your response, which was at the beginning of this presentation, and the response which you will now be giving will be entirely different. You are in this job because you want to make a difference. You are in this job because you want to change the lives of students. You are in this job because you want to make your school a role model for others to follow. You are in this job because you want to implement all those government schemes with utmost sincerity which make a difference in the lives of ordinary people. There are people who can send their children to expensive private schools, but the ordinary people, they only have the option of government schools, and therefore it is our sacred duty to take the level of our schools to such great heights that even the private schools, they follow us. They give our reference whenever there is talk about the quality of education. So with these humble requests, I would like to end my presentation. Now I will show you a video. It's a I think 8 to 10 minutes video. And it is about an old TV serial Udan. It was being publicized in Doordarshan. It was being telecasted. This video, after this video, we will have a discussion.
अच्छा क्या कंप्लेंट है अच्छा वो अभी लिखा है जी अभी तक आपने लिखी नहीं अरे सर वो मामूली सा आती किशोरी अभी लिखे देता हूँ कब से आए हैं आप यहाँ खरीद से तो मालूम नहीं उसे याद आता है नहीं
Audio is not
मुझे
clear.
खरीद से तो मालूम नहीं मुझे तो 30 हफ्ते किसे चल रहे हैं क्या हुआ आपके साथ उन्होंने अंदर पैसा जोड़ साइड में खेल रहे हैं तो सलाह कह रहे हैं तो उनका पहली मरतबा हम तुरंत साफ करा और झटकों में से वादा कह रहे हैं कि उनका पहली मरतबा स्कूल हम साफ की पढ़ाई छोड़ दें लेकिन उसके पहले पहले हमने साइकिल छोड़ी एकदम नहीं कहाँ रखी थी साइकिल मुझे लागने का ख्याल है पूरा सवेरे उठते थे और बेटे तो हमारी बात करा और साइकिल कहूँगी साइकिल कहाँ चला जाएगा आपकी नहीं उतारी थी लिख देंगे सर देहात में तो ऐसे छोटे मोटे लोगों को अच्छा बता अभी दे इनकी तफ्तीश
Sound is not clearly clear. Sound is not
और
clearly
पूरी
clear.
थाली
आवाज बढ़ा.
निहाई करके कीजिए जी सर
Not able to understand even a single word.
आप में से किसको नौकरी आसानी से मिल गई बहुत कोशिश बहुत मेहनत करने के बाद सर्विस में आए होंगे भी लेकिन एक बार जब आप सर्विस में आ गए तो आप अपने को बहुत बड़ा और आम जनता जहाँ से आप आए होंगे बहुत छोटा मानने लगते हैं बड़े बनने का शौक तो सबको होता है लेकिन किसी दूसरे को छोटा बनाकर नहीं बड़े आप तब हैं अगर आप अपनी जिम्मेदारी पूरी तरीके से निभाएं आपने अपने एरिया का क्राइम कंट्रोल किया 10 साल के यहाँ का बनते डकैत क्राइम पर आजाद हुआ है आपने उसे पकड़ा उसे गिरफ्तार किया और आप आदमी के सामने बड़े बनते हैं उस पर रोक झाड़ते किस बात का क्योंकि उसका कोई स्टेटस नहीं है वो किसी गांव का मुखिया नहीं बाद में ये 10 मीटर के थे बाप वो अच्छे कपड़े पहने और तब तो उसे कहीं खाना बैठा पूछा ये तो पहले खाया बाप क्यों भाई हम पर्दे पहनने का मतलब भागना से विदाई नहीं लेना तो नहीं होता वो आदमी जो जिंदगी के पशु पेश में वैसे ही हारा हुआ मामूली जरूरतें पूरी नहीं कर सकता, उसे इज्जत से भी महरूम करवाओगे, उससे ठीक से बात तक नहीं करोगे, तुम पोजीशन वाले लोग समझते क्या हो हमें? मेरा मतलब है हम ड्राइवर मेरी भाई है ना, हाँ मैंने ये चंद बातें लिखी हैं आप सबको याद दिलाने के लिए कि जो भी कंप्लेंट हमारे पास आए उसकी सुनवाई हमें शीघ्रता व नम्रता से करनी है, कंप्लेंट चाहे कितनी भी छोटी करे। दूसरा, क्राइम फिगर नीचे लाना है, क्राइम रजिस्टर ना करके नहीं, क्राइम सच्चाई से कंट्रोल करके। तीसरा, नौकरी की इज्जत करनी, इससे दी गई रोजी की भी इज्जत करनी, इससे ऊपर की आमदनी जिसे कहते हैं उसकी अपेक्षा नहीं करनी। यदि कोई शिकायत किसी के खिलाफ मिली तब ये बातें बातें नहीं रह जाएंगी, उस पर एक्शन लिया जाएगा। और ये बता देना उचित होगा कि एक्शन काफी सख्त हो। सर 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 हम सोचते हैं हम अभी चीफ इनको लेकर निकल जाते हैं। शाबाश शाबाश सर, हम शीघ्र एक्शन लेंगे, अभी तो बातचीत रही। हम आपको नहीं समझते हैं। अरे साइकिल चार्ज या सादा तो छोटी बात नहीं, मेरे पास वो पूरा वापस कर रहे हैं, हमको अपना खुद अदा कर रहे हैं, तो फिर तो हम दोस्त इज्जत करने वालों में से हो गए। हाँ तो भैया वो तो हमारे साइकिल के पीछे बैठा और सरकार हम, हाँ भैया आप बैठता रहे सरकार हम बैठे, अरे बैठ जाओ भैया, अरे बात ले ना, बात कर लेंगे कहाँ, अरे बैठ जाओ, अरे बैठ जाओ, पता ही नहीं मैं तुम्हें साइकिल पर बैठा कर तुम्हें तुम्हारे गांव ले जाता हूँ, कितने में बताया कब लगोगे? 10 मिनट बजरंग बली की जय। सही, इस फाइल सब खाली कर। जी हाँ, मैं ये फाइल स्टडी करूंगी, लेकिन आज रात में शहर में नहीं जाऊंगी, यही देहात के गेस्ट हाउस में रुकूंगी। काफी रोजगार करके आए। हाँ पहले तो मुझे भी यही लगा, फिर देखा अभी बच्ची क्या कह रही थी, उनकी दूसरी बात तो मेरे सर के ऊपर चली गई। नए नए एक्टिंग सब ऐसे ही होता है, बाद में सब ठीक।
Now, this video is self-explanatory and it clearly mentions some of the qualities which I was discussing about. This is a very nice serial. It was an old Doordarshan serial. Many of you might have seen it. And the qualities that I listed down, some of these qualities are being mentioned in this video also. Now, I will request any one of you would like to share some thoughts or ask some questions. Anyone would like to ask any questions or would like to share their thoughts about this presentation, about this topic?
Sir, may I ask one question?
Yeah, please,
Yes,
go
Padma
ahead.
Kamangeli.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Sir, there is one question. Please, I would like to request you to try to reply that one. How can we annihilate the over and undue and unjustifiable interference of politicians in the system?
Actually, we need to think about it in a larger perspective. India is a democratic country. We are a democracy. In democracy, of course, there will be political parties. And of all the available systems of governance in the world, you will agree that democracy is the best, in which there is representation of the people. People's voices are being heard. So naturally, there will be political parties. And when political parties will be there, they try to get involved in everything, in every institution which makes a difference in the lives of the ordinary people. Now, if we adopt an attitude which is a kind of confrontational attitude, it will not help us. Therefore, it is very important to develop a working relationship. Now that working relationship will be based on mutual respect, and that respect has to be earned. You have to take the initiative as a principal. When you come to your school on time, when your results are good, when there is perfect discipline in your school, when you follow a high kind of ethical behavior, then you will earn that respect from the respective politicians that you are mentioning about. And at that level, when you reach that level, and when they come to meet you, then you can interact with them, and develop a kind of working relationship, because they will keep coming on you. You cannot avoid them, and they are a stakeholder, because our is a democratic country. You cannot means, if you think that you can close your doors, it's not possible. So I request you that, and at the same time, a line has to be drawn somewhere. There has to be a line, because we are a government institution. A fine balance has to be struck, and that fine balance again differs from individual to individual. You are never supposed to accept any of their wrong demands, any of their unethical things. We are not supposed to entertain them. We are government officers. But there are some elected representatives. When they come to your office, there is a code of conduct by the GAD also that we have to follow. If the elected MLA or the elected honorable member of parliament, they come to your school, then there is certain decorum that has to be maintained. So I must request that, taking that into consideration and without compromising on your self-respect, you should try to identify these people, as you should try to you should try to take their help in the positive direction, rather than considering them as a hindrance in the functioning of your institution. Have I satisfied you?
Thanks for the reply, sir. But my question was a bit different. I was just talking about something which is undue and unjustifiable, because from our part, that is self-respect from there. But sometimes it happens from their part, that becomes an ego, an element of ego. So there is a clash. No problem. Thanks a lot for your reply. I can understand the
Thank you. Thank
moderation
you.
of the time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Anyone else would like to ask a question?
So
Anyone else?
now need to finish. Thank you. और कोई प्रश्न करना चाहते हैं? सर फिनिश करें?
Okay.